What's up, everyone? Jhae of the HardParkingPodcast back again with another rental car review. A few weeks ago, unfortunately, my family and I took a trip to Minnesota for my father's funeral. However, we did get to rent a 2020 Chevy Tahoe LT. I've always been curious about this car. I've always liked Tahoes. So we're going to find out how much I really liked it or if there's anything about it I didn't like. Also, if you haven't seen my last video, go ahead and check it out where I traded in my NSX, my turbo NSX, for a Honda HR-V. Sort of. So go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the other side. So here it is, my 2020 white Chevy Tahoe LT. This $55,000 vehicle is middle trim apparently. Let's take a look at the Infotainment Center. This thing is extremely familiar. The AC controls, the heated seats, all the knobs in all the right places. There's no guessing unless you're blind. If you are, then why the hell are you driving anything anyway? It has CarPlay. Gauge positioning and things is awesome. Flipping from two-wheel to four-wheel mode in auto mode is right next to the headlights. You can't miss it. It's one of the two things you see when you first get in the car. Apparently, car makers like to move this feature around because most have it in the center console. I will also note there is no auto stop, auto start feature, which I affectionately call the Avengers A button. This is the second car in a row that I've rented that doesn't have that. Moving around the cabin, you see the rear view mirror, but I noticed there's like a baby view mirror, I think. As far as accessories go, up front, there's a 12-volt power jack and a twin USB, and that's right underneath the infotainment center. In the incredibly spacious arm cubby storage, there's another 12-volt power jack and a twin USB with an auxiliary audio hole. Did I mention how spacious the center console storage is? I was able to put a 750 milliliter bottle of whiskey and a 6-pack of beer. On the driver's side and passenger side of the center console, there's a large narrow notch. It's big enough to hold a tablet or a medium laptop. The first row of rear passengers has their own air conditioning controls, which is pretty common for a full-size SUV. However, this thing has a 3-prong power outlet, so you can, I guess, dry your hair, curl your hair, or play Nintendo, or do whatever you want. Or plug in, if you're smart, I guess you'd plug in maybe a power strip. There's also a 12-volt power jack for a cigarette lighter or something else. There's no USBs, at least in the LT, but again, if you have the right adapter, plug the white cube in with the power and you're good to go. So as most SUVs, this thing has a third row. But unlike most SUVs that I've rented, you lose almost all your ability for cargo when the third row is being used, which I found incredibly curious. We even had to keep half the third row down so we can fit the baby stroller in the back for our daily commute. Anything you put back there, if the seats are up, is going to fall out as soon as you open the rear hatch. With the third row down, you have significant storage. So the vehicle is perfect for 4 people if traveling with luggage on a trip. But if you have 5 people, or if you have 5 adults, a baby seat, and a stroller, that's major thumbs down on that one. You know I like my technology. The daytime running lamps, being an LED strip is a little old school, and I don't know why a $55,000 SUV doesn't come with xenon lights. As far as seating, it's roomy. Of course, the front seats are going to be roomy, but the front and rear passenger seats are as good as any. This Tahoe does struggle with the third row seating. Even with the seats up, you're pushing it with 2 adults in the third row. For most of the trip, it was 4 adults and a toddler, as I mentioned earlier. And even with that, because of the child seat and the stroller, it made the third row seating for my daughter pretty uncomfortable. Like you had to have one of the third row seats down. The stroller would fall out if we had the seats up. So with all that being said, out and about driving around town, which was mostly countryside where we were, although it wasn't the smoothest of rides, it was definitely worth renting and it provided almost everything you would really expect. I'm a really big fan of renting SUVs when I'm traveling, whether it's for business or leisure, and when it's more than just me and my wife. Unfortunately, I managed to take out 2 birds within 24 hours, which is a personal record. Not that I'm keeping track, I just thought that was really strange to have happened. Like really strange. I kept the remains of 1 bird on the windshield so I could watch its feathery remains flap in the wind as to keep its soul alive. Unfortunately, my wife got grossed out and washed it off as soon as she took the Tahoe to pick the kids up from the airport. So here's what it comes down to. Would I rent it again? Or would I buy it? Absolutely, I would rent it again. Where does it rank in my SUV rentals? Given the choice, I'd rather take an Expedition, Explorer, Grand Cherokee, or even a Volkswagen Atlas, all of which need to be on equal level trim. Let's face it, no one wants an entry-level anything as a rental. Would I buy it? I've always had my eye on Tahoes. I've always thought they were kind of cool and spacious and capable of towing a lot of things. but even being a 2020 model, it looks kind of old. I think they completely redesigned the 2021. But I feel like driving this thing around, it would get really old really quick, and it would feel old in 2 years. But with all that being said, I would absolutely rent the Chevy Tahoe again. All right, guys, that's it. A lot more reviews coming soon. Make sure you check out the Hard Parking Podcast, available everywhere you typically find your podcasts at. Look for my smiling face. Also, if you want to support the show, we have a Patreon page. The link is in the description. If you want to buy clothing, trinkets, all sorts of cool stuff, the link is also in the description. But before you leave, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you didn't like something, tell us in the comments. It's a growing page. If you like something, tell me in the comments. It's a growing page. Till next time, I'm out.
Shut up!